getting stuffy in here, too much sitting inside with board games, and not enough enjoying the sunshine and good weather that January in Britain is known for. Why don't we step outside for a moment? This is Tenby, a seaside town in Wales, and this is Tenby, a board game about Tenby, the seaside town in Wales. Did I spend 7 hours on a train from Nottingham to Tenby just to film this scene? Yes. Did I spend another 7 hours on a train back from Tenby to Nottingham just to film the rest of this video back in my living room? Also yes. Why did I do that? Well, because Tenby is worth it. If you played games like Forest Shuffle, Tenby will be immediately familiar. Round by round, you will acquire cards that sculpt the bucolic streets of Tenby, flower pots on the window, coffee shops galore, and seagulls as far as the eye can see go. Each card you collect has to go into one of your streets. The only restriction here is that some cards are regular terrace and some are piers. So terrace cards have to go next to terrace, pier next to pier, and if you want the same street to have both, get you a card that can do both. Problem: each card you acquire and put into your street introduces a scoring condition. For example, this card will give me a point per seagull on cards adjacent to it. Bird poop. It's a desirable feature. This card has 2 seagulls, and so does this. Now I'm scoring 4 points. Job done. Except each of these cards have their own scoring conditions. Now I need to worry about flower pots and benches, and the card that gives me flower pots wants me to create an array of different color buildings, and the card that gives me benches wants telescopes, and the card that gives me telescopes wants... You get the idea. This constant assault of I need just one more thing is enough to lose yourself in a joyful cardboard catatonia, stupefied by a constant pursuit of perfection that's always elusive enough to slip out of your grasp. To round out this carousel of scoring conditions are conditions that reach further. Literally. Most cards will simply check adjacent cards whether they have the thing they want. Fancier cards will extend that reach by 1 extra card, multiplying the points, but also the headache because the spiderweb gained an additional layer. And finally, there's special landmark cards that score every card in the street, but you can only have 1 per street. Thus, each street you create takes on a different character. If your landmark scores telescopes, this street is probably mostly going to be piers. And of course, each card has multiple features baked into it. Color of building, type of building, maybe a lamppost, a bin, some flower pots. There has to be the exact right spot where I can place it, where it will milk me maximum points for every condition. But Tenby is not satisfied with letting you take whichever cards you want. The selection is meager and further dwindled by other greedy Tenbyists at the table. In each of the game's 10 rounds, you will first select a turn order card. This card will not only dictate what cards you're allowed to take, but when you take them. Cards with lower initiative, meaning you're more likely to go first, display less actions, and cards with high numbers will spray you with frothy options like a passing tugboat. And the joke here is that if you're like third in turn order, literally every card is probably already gone and you have to top deck. Top decking in this game is akin to a disaster. Whatever you draw, you have to put into your streets. The chances that something perfect will drop into your lap are near 0. And the chances this will utterly destroy your neighborhood. So on one hand, you could go early, select whatever you want, but you'll get like 1 card if you're lucky. And on the other hand, you could go late, get all the cards, but most of them will likely ruin you. And this is where the game becomes absurd in the best way possible. Each card you take, you have to place in a street, but you can have as many streets as you like. And since they conform to game logic rather than anything an actual town might resemble, you end up with these weird streets that are like one house in between an endless parade of benches on a pier, which is where the final mechanism of Life Boys comes in. They let you shift and rearrange cards, repositioning them in the same street or sometimes into entirely new arrangements. However, if you save up enough Life Boys, you can spend them on a full card action, even the landmark one, meaning that you can suddenly do a lot more with a low initiative card. Tenby is full of these beautiful trade-offs. No choice is ever quite perfect, and it leaves you wanting for more as you desperately try to round off every element of strategy you introduced into your tableau in a flash of intoxicated hubris. And of course, sometimes you'll have these beautiful moments where a perfect card will just fall into your lap, and that feels as good as a Pembrokeshire pasty, which is something I discovered whilst I was in Tenby. And I'm sorry, Cornwall, but I think the Pembrokeshire pasty is actually... So, the game? Pretty good. And if it wasn't coming in hot on the heels of Forest Shuffle, I think we'd be looking at one of those evergreen titles that everyone gets introduced to board games with. I will say that it feels about 95% as sharp as Forest Shuffle, just a tiny smidge looser all around. Some strategies really feel like they could do with a bit of toning down, although you could say the same thing about the original Forest Shuffle 2, which it later addressed with expansions, and it was only ever a problem on a table with mixed experience players. If everyone is on the same page, you know which cards to snipe. Except here, Tenby already has a whole box of day one expansion modules. And that feels like the wrong way of going about things. You should start making modules when people have played your game and inevitably found holes in it. For example, the Kickstarter version of Tenby came with the Guides module. This rewards the player who's last in initiative with a bonus guide card. The guide cards have various effects, but chiefly they introduce ways to manipulate the current state of the game. For example, you could boot out someone from their initiative slot and take their place. This is, of course, negative interaction in a point salad, and I appreciate everyone who's not a fan of that, but my criticism here is actually that the game introduces extra chaos, shrinking the window of when it is appropriate to plan things. Before, I could make strategic decisions based on where I think I will fall in initiative. Now, who knows? Basically anything could happen. And that feels... But the most important thing is that the game thinks that being last in turn order is a disadvantage and compensates for it. Whether that's actually true or not, I can't tell you. I haven't played it enough. At the moment, the designer knows best, but soon the designer won't know best as the game spreads into the hands of more players. Surprises might rear themselves, and that's when you design modules that compensate for things. I didn't mean for that to happen. It was just a surprise, believe it or not. I don't know. This is a stupid criticism. I felt like I had to balance my overwhelming amount of exuberance for this plucky board game, but what gives it real indie pluck is that it was A, designed by Benji Talbot, B, drawn by Benji Talbot, C, published by Benji Talbot, and D, scored by Benji Talbot. That's right, it's a one-man Tenby band to Tenbyfy your Tenby, and appropriately, it oozes charm. Each cafe, restaurant, or shop has a cute seaside pun name like a bed and breakfast called Sleep Blue Sea or a pub called Whiskey Business. Adorable! And inaccurate. I've been to Tenby now. The punniest name I found was a bakery called Loafly. I know, it's not even a pun, it's just Loafly. Great sausage rolls though, like 10 out of 10. No, really, maybe, not over-egging this, the best sausage roll I've ever had in my life. I want to go back to Tenby now. Cute games are a dime a dozen these days, and a lot of them coast by on their cuteness. This one, there's something extra happening here, a satisfying combo-tastic system that serves as great entertainment for those already deep into board games, and something charming to grab the attention of everybody else. Tenby is a crowd pleaser, and it's bound to please you as well. If you'd like to get a copy of Tenby, the retail version of this game will be published by a company called Mighty Boards, and you can pre-order it from their website, who are not our sponsor, And this is not a review copy because we don't have board game publishers as sponsors, nor do we accept review copies. We simply rely on your support to keep going, so please do check out our Patreon. See you soon.